Hello and welcome to the first Legoland Windsor visit of 2024. Now, I've just pulled up into the car park and so much has changed already. Directly in front of me over there is the brand new Legoland Holiday Village. I didn't know where they were going to put it, and I thought it might be in a different place, but it is actually in, I do believe, one of the old car parking bays. Now, to the left-hand side, there is the big mini golf, but to my right-hand side, they've actually changed all the parking over there. So you can actually carry on going down where that car is now for more, it just says parking continues. So it'd be very, very interesting to see how big the car park is that way. But directly to my left-hand side, that is where the brand new mini golf is, or the mini golf that was launched, I do believe, in 2023. So I haven't been here for a little while, but it's amazing to see how much has changed. The car park configurations all changed as well. They're taking all the trees out and they've changed the way you park on the inside. But I will see if I can get a little bit closer to the holiday village. I doubt it very highly. It's all going to be boarded off, but I'll see if I can go for a little wander over there. But to be honest, it does look like where that van's going, that's about as far as you can go. So we'll see what we can do. If I can add any of that footage in, I will do. If not, you'll catch back up with me in a second inside the park. And away we go. So as you can tell by the name of the title, this is just a highlight reel of different things to come. And what I've done is I've added in all the new models within this video as well. Once I have uploaded each individual video from Legoland Windsor with all the detail and going around the queue line and everything else, I will then upload a full park tour. But for this one, it is just snippets of what each land has to offer and sort of the order that you can walk around. So that is the new model that we saw has replaced what I do believe was the big Hulkbuster, and then we've just walked down a little bit more. You just have to excuse my hand from time to time because I'm just practicing new things in anticipation for the Legoland Malaysia and Legoland Dubai trip, and I think we ended up getting some really nice footage. So as we come down, there are two ways down. You've got the pushchair way or the wheelchair way, which is this way, and then you have got the staircase with the slides on the other side, but you can snake it round on a bit of path like this as well. And of course you can use the trams. That's three different ways down if you come into the park on the left hand side, and if you come in and turn right by the big store, there is another way down past the Viking River Splash. Now we'll get to that later on, but the new Ferrari world is now a thing. The build and race has appeared at Legoland Windsor, but it did not open for another 45 minutes, which is a little bit of a shame. I was hoping to get in there early to then film all the different bits and pieces before it got busy, because that is obviously a very, very popular build and play area. Now from there, we are now heading down towards the Miniland section, and I have done a full Miniland video that is going to be available within the uploads, which is always a really nice thing to see. And you might be able to spot the difference of one or two new things that they might have added into the Miniland area itself, which is always really nice to see. So it does seem to be now that every single year each Legoland park is doing something completely different. And Legoland Windsor really has done a lot of different things over the last year or two. Some mini golfs appeared. The car park, like I said at the start, is completely changed. They've got the new village that you're going to be able to stay at with the fantastic new accommodation. There is a Miniland mission on the go as well. You can see it says We've Saved Parade Day. And of course, the new big thing inside Legoland Windsor is the new dueling mini figure roller coaster, which we will be taking a quick look at as we walk around. That was an impressive looking thing. But you can see there's all different information around regarding the stuff that you need to do for the Miniland missions. So we'll have a very, very quick snippet of the stuff that they have at the Miniland section in Windsor, and then we'll move straight on to the next section. So there is a full-blown video. Windsor is very, very good for its Miniland because it has something of everything inside it. And now we've just moved straight on to the next bit. So we are now at the bottom by the hill train, where you can see it's the start of the Ninjago section. So we will be taking a very, very quick look in Ninjago. So you can see Ninjago itself. It's a nice land, it has a good shop on the inside, and there are lots and lots of models to have a look at as well. So you can see you've got the Lloyd, and there is all sorts of different bits and pieces that, like I said, we'll be covering in much greater detail in individual uploads, so there won't be just as quicker snippets of what we're looking at now. Like I said, this is literally just a highlight reel of Legoland Windsor, because I know some of you don't have time to watch an hour and a half video, so I have just cut it down to half an hour, so at least this way you can see everything that Legoland Windsor has to offer. Now, Ninjago the ride was just a walk-on.
So it took 5 minutes to actually get to where it is because the queue line is so big. Everything else is just a walk on as well. The dragon, there was not a single person in the queue. I just walked around, sat on it, and went on. It is a very, very quiet time at the moment at Legoland Windsor because obviously I think I went on a Thursday and obviously all the kids are at school. So it is a perfect time to come. The only area that is busy during the week when the children are at school is the Duplo section, because obviously it is meant for that age demographic. So where we are now, we have a full-blown look at the shop later on, or in a completely separate upload for the Ninjago. There is lots and lots of different bits and pieces within this Lego store, and obviously they've got all the bigger sets, they've got all the t-shirts, they've got all the different clothing and everything like that as well. So it is always a really nice thing to see, especially when you come off the ride and you can just jump into the shop and it is nice and quiet, because obviously the big store at the very, very top can get quite busy quite quickly. But there's something for everybody inside this store, especially for the price point. Now, moving straight on to the next section, we are going into our pirate section, which again, Pirate Shores. This is a great section of the park. It is quite large. This is where it has the log flume. Now, talking of log flume, when I upload the log flume footage from Legoland Malaysia, I have never in my life got so wet on a ride before. Completely different seating configuration, completely different everything, and for some reason you got absolutely drenched. So keep your eyes peeled for that video, but for now we'll carry on talking about Legoland Windsor. And again, they have some really, really nice models within this section. Obviously there's music being played in the background which you can't really hear, but as we do a full 360 loop of these characters, they do look very, very good indeed. I do believe these have recently been updated, which is always a really nice thing to see. So all the Lego bricks are nice and fresh, and of course you've got the nice big treasure chest as well. There's lots and lots of different photo opportunities within this section of the park, which is always a nice thing. So you can just get your photo taken with some of the Lego models dotted all over the place, whereas some of the other areas it is a little bit more difficult. Now you have got areas like here, for example, we can have your pirate photo, and then you've got your reserve and ride for Pirate Falls, and then you've got the main entrance to Pirate Falls as well. So there really is a lot going on within this section of the park as we carry on moving around. So you can see that you've got the big swinging ship. That is a set that I'd like them to make actually in Lego form, to be honest. I think a larger version of that would work really well. I think it would sell quite well as well. I think a lot of people would like to motorise that, because that is a sort of set that they do have at a lot of the Legoland parks. And also you can just have different theming. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a pirate ship. They could just do something else instead. I would imagine with how heavy they're going into the space theme, they could potentially have a big spaceship instead. Now again, this is something that I think they've added recently over the last few years with regards to the bigger models and everything that is just beside this swinging ship, and that is what it looks like as it gets going. So you can see how it works, and it really does get going. If you manage to sit at the very, very front or the very, very back, it does feel like you're very, very high indeed, when really you're not that high off the floor whatsoever. It just gives that illusion, and obviously it is quite a cool little feeling to have. So as the swinging ship is carrying on, I think we're going to move straight on to the next sections. Like I said, it's just snippets, so that will be after we've had a quick look at this. I do believe will be the Enchanted Forest, but this is a new pay-to-play that they did add in 2022. Why they've added in another pay-to-play when all the other Legoland places are actually starting to get rid of them, I don't know, and I haven't actually seen anybody use it either. So what the point of that is there, well, pass. I'm nothing to do with it, and I don't run the Legoland place whatsoever. But I did notice walking up past the sort of abandoned area now where the Viking River splashes, where there used to be a pay-to-play, and then there was something else that you paid for now. All of that's just been abandoned and blocked off as well, because obviously they just don't get used that much. But if it generates more money, it obviously generates more money. Now, there was some maintenance work going on in this Enchanted Forest, and there was a chap doing some bits and pieces, and it looked like they had added in a little bit of water down just in there. So that is a new thing that I don't think I've seen before, but I don't know if it appeared in 2023. But I really do hope that they make use of this section of the park, because it's a beautiful space. It is a really nice area that you could easily come in and have a picnic. Obviously it gets used a lot for Halloween, and again it is the queue line area for around the castle for the Christmas bits and pieces, but throughout the rest of the year it's nothing as such. People don't really use it as a cut through. It would just be nice if they put some models in here, or they just did something as a walk through attraction, but again over a period of time. So they have added in bits. They've added in these little things, and they've added in some what looks like some other little games that you could play. There is a lot of new timber that they've added in as well. So what plans they have for the future would be quite interesting to see, because it is nice that they are now starting to make use of this space. Because I always come into here, I always sit down, always grab a little drink inside this area, because obviously over the year or two that I've been doing these videos for now, you literally never see anybody else walk around here, but they've got the bins and everything, which has the pirate theme on, and obviously you've got the play area and everything to the left hand side. But this thing here is relatively new, or it's brand new for 2024/2023, and they've added in a few more of those. So if you know what they're to do with, or what they're going to be leading up to, then let me know in that comment section below. Now, moving past the rest of that, because that is obviously all in a different video, you've got that sign up at the top, which I guess would be used for their Christmas bits and pieces and Halloween, and then we're going to move straight in to the big castle. Now, the big castle never disappoints. You have a lot of different bits and pieces to have a look at. You've obviously got the shop on the inside, but you now do have something called these Wizard Frozen Wonders. So it's like a new ice cream section where you can go in and get some treats, and obviously in the summer that will be very, very good and very, very busy, because I say this every single time, Legoland Windsor does not have shade. I don't know why. The other two parks I've just been to around the world, they have loads of shade. They have different bits and pieces that you can walk underneath, or they've just got things laid out completely differently, whereas this one, they don't. And when it gets hot here, people start to melt. Now, it is only for a couple of weeks of the year, but then at the same time, that shelter also works very, very well when it's raining and you don't get soaking wet, which happens all the time in England. But moving off from the weather onto the pigs, you can see again they've got all of these down here now by the castle. These were originally down the zigzag by sort of towards the Viking River Splash, and then they got moved a year or two ago, and I think like a dragon's nest got added into that. It'd be very, very interesting to see what way they're going to be going in that section, because obviously that river rapids was huge, and I can't imagine them ever putting anything in there water related again, just because how much power it draws and how much members of staff were needed to make the ride run smoothly. And now they've added in another coaster. Will we be getting another coaster in the future, or are they going to do something else as a walk around attraction? Because you have got the huge Miniland, but it would still be nice to have something else sort of dotted away, a bit like what they did with Mythica. I think that hybrid of Mythica works well, where we've got all the different rides and we've got like a little walk around attraction and things like that. But the area is enormous, like this castle that we're looking at for that Viking River Splash. But yes, you have got the dragon in the water, and it does look very, very impressive. And obviously, of course, the Knight's Kingdom Castle does look very, very good indeed. And you can see you've got the umbrellas there where you can sit outside if you wanted to when it is sunny. And now you can have your ice cream. And obviously this is where the toilet block is as well, if you did want to pick up anything like that. Now, in the distance, you can see you've got some more flags. That is for the other rides. Now, we have skipped all the walk round, and now we're moving straight onto what I class as the adventure section, which is obviously Kingdom of the Pharaohs. Now, this is where the train wraps around. You've got all the Lego models to the left hand side, and then there's lots of other different bits and pieces going on within this section of the ride. It is a nice little thing to sit on. Now, walking through this is obviously the main bit is the laser shooter, and it has some smaller rides there as well. Now, skipping from the adventure section straight in to the Friends section. Now, there's a couple of updates in the Friends section for the Heart Lake City. You can see you've got Heart Lake Shakes, and there are one or two new models as well. Of course, the Legoland Express is part of the track that we have just seen, but if we carry on wrapping around, they have done obviously really nice fascias on all of the buildings. But what I was quite surprised about is that where they do all the entertainment, all the water had been drained away. So if you are watching this from the future, let me know in the comment section below if that is now opened up and running again properly, because I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know if they're just giving it a quick spruce up before the main season kicks off, but I thought they always did all the maintenance work for all the water bits and pieces in the off season in the winter, and obviously we're quite far into the new year now, so I was quite surprised to see this all barricaded off, but I'm also intrigued to see what new is going to be coming. If it's just basic maintenance work, then that's fair enough, but I'm sure they might have changed the colour of the carpet, so I thought that might have been purple when I saw it last, for all of the Lego Friends bits and pieces. So I am intrigued to know what they're going to be doing within this section of the park, and obviously this section of the park is a good cut through, but you can either go to the Lego City to the left, or you can keep walking in a straight line and you end up in the mythical section. Now again, within the Lego Friends section, we have a nice size shop. Inside the shop you can obviously get all of the different sets that you can think of, but obviously it is very, very heavy for all of the Lego Friends sets, which is never a bad thing, and it's always nice to have plenty of shops available so you don't have to worry about queuing up at the main store. Now that is the shop on the outside, which has had a name change. That is now called the Campus Shop. That did used to be Heart Lake City Shop, I think, and now it is just Campus Shop, so it is something new just there. And then you can see you got all the calf and all the really nice fascias of all the different bits and pieces. Moving straight on to Lego Mythica. This you could spend a good 45 minutes in just walking around, looking at all of the models, let alone queuing up for the different rides. Now the models here are fantastic, and all the models that you see are included in the big 4D ride itself. I still think they need to open up a shop, only a small one, where they could actually sell all of these sets individually, because I'm sure people would buy them. And if they're going to be opening up Mythica in all of the other Legoland parks around the world, then I don't understand why they just don't sell the sets, because I think people would enjoy these, or just have a little shop in here. They've got plenty of space just by the big 4D ride, and it's almost crying out for an open walkthrough tent where you could just grab one or two sets, pay by card, obviously a member of staff there, and I think they would have a high turnover, because everybody that comes off the ride will have their own favourite character, and then they would want to buy that set. So as a bit of product placement, I think that could be the way to go, but they haven't done it yet, and this land has now been open 2 years, I do believe. But again, you've got the fish and chips, you've got lots of places that you can eat within this section, then you've got the slides, and then you've got 2 other big rides as well, lots of different models to have a look at. And of course, you have the new edition that they did in 22, where you've got the big walk round. So I think this actually opened up in 21, and then they did a bolt on to it in 22, because I didn't come in 23, and this was filmed in 24. But this is Hydra. This does look very, very clever and good. You've got the really, really nice bright aqua with all the green. Obviously, it's a 3-headed dragon. And then the ride is directly behind me, which does look very, very effective indeed. So it is always nice to see those kind of things. I think we might turn around within this video. If not, we will just move straight on to the next section. Now that is just the floor. So how long do I look at the floor for? Do I need to take it out? No, I am too lazy. There it is. There's Hydra's challenge. So that is the floor. That is Hydra's challenge. And if you push the buttons on the side, you can get the people on that ride soaking wet. Now you've got the big lake in the middle, and you've got all the hotels that wrap around the outside of it. So you've got the main Legoland Hotel, and of course you've got the Castle Hotel as well. Now the lake at night does look very, very effective with all the water going, but during the day you can see there are lots and lots of models available for you to have a look at. So you just need to spend a little bit of time soaking it all in. And now there is a mythical bite just there, where you can grab yourself a bite to eat for different bits and pieces if you want to, and then you can see exactly what is going on in there. Now where we are going to is the magical forest, and that is a really nice cut through. It wraps all the way around the back of the land, and you can see this is just a little snippet of what is to come from this section. There's lots and lots of nice things in here. Again, lots of opportunity to take a lot of photos, and of course you can use a QR code through the Lego app, and then you'll be able to do some different bits and pieces. Now we have walked to the other side of the lake, and then this is letting us know that opening in May, so this is open already, the new Woodland Village has opened up, and you can see there's different types of accommodation. So I would imagine you can get the barrel, and you'll be able to get the other types as well. I've not had a proper look with regards to the different types of accommodation, but I have seen where it is, and compared to the other parks, it is in an interesting location. So until I've actually visited myself, I'm not going to say anything else, but it is an interesting one. Now, you have got Atlantis. This was having a refurb. So this was actual scheduled maintenance. It did say on the front, so I'm assuming that they're going to be doing different bits and pieces with the fish, and they're just maintaining all the ride and everything, because I can't imagine that this is a cheap thing to keep running, because it's not a walkthrough attraction. You do get in those submarines, and those submarines are working all the time. So I don't know how much downtime Deep Sea Adventure has, but it is a very, very cool ride to go on, and they do have a few of those dotted around all the different Legoland parks around the world. And if they're not a ride, they are just like a sea life walkthrough attraction instead. So you would have to let us know in that comment section below, which one do you prefer? So we've just got just over 10 minutes left. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. There are, like I said, lots and lots of different videos to come from Legoland Windsor, and including within this trip, we've got Legoland Malaysia, we've got Legoland Dubai as well, and I'm hoping to get to Legoland Billund and Legoland Germany this year as well. So you are going to be spoilt for choice with lots of different comparison videos with regards to full park tours, which I said this will be having a full version. So rather than just a shortcut half an hour, I will add in every single video file that I've got to make this a mammoth upload like we normally do. And of course, you've got all the detailed walk around of each individual land to come as well. So we've just walked over the railway tracks and jumped onto the next section. So we're getting close to the Lego City section, and we're obviously starting off with the haunted house. The fascia on this, I think, does look really nice. Is the monster fighters, or the monster party, or whatever it's called. Moving on from there, this is amazing. So this is the brand new dueling roller coaster that is taken away from the Team Extreme water slides. So if you caught any of the videos that I did before, you would have noticed that there was just water slides there and they weren't doing anything for years. That was a ride that you got drenched on for no reason. Now we are at the dueling roller coaster, and it is the minifigure raceway. So this is a ride where you go shooting around one way, you get to the top, and then you go shooting back all the way in reverse, and then you come into the entrance. Both cars leave at the same time, they race each other, and then they go back in reverse. So apparently that is the tallest minifigure at the moment in the world. So you are looking at that, and obviously it does look very, very similar to some of the outfits that you get from the stunts team. So it'd be interesting to see what happens when they finish all of this off, because you can see it looks like they've still got quite a little bit of work to do underneath with regards to sort of the shrubbery and things like that, but they were still in the background having the diggers there. So obviously the ride is running, it was obviously just going a little bit, but all of these different colors in front, I would imagine, will be removed sooner rather than later. And again, it's nice to see just different characters. Obviously they're not Lego brick built, but they are the more plastic injection molding, but they do look nice, and it's the first time we've seen those at the park itself. And they've also changed all of the facial work and all the posters on quite a lot of the different bits and pieces. They've kept the queue lines pretty much the same, but they've just changed the colouring. And again, we're just moving on to the next, which is going to be, I do believe, the Imagination section, and then we carry on moving into the Ferrari bit that we saw right at the very, very start. So there are a couple of bits and pieces up top, and of course now we get to have a look at this fantastic Ferrari. So it is another one ticked off, it is another one to see, but surprisingly, in Malaysia and Dubai, they are yet to receive a Ferrari build and play. They are still stuck with the much, much older sort of build and play that they had with the Technic different bits and pieces. So they've got the space there ready, so it wouldn't surprise me if it won't be too much longer until a different massive Ferrari will appear somewhere else around the world. I do believe they've got one of these in Billund, Germany, Windsor obviously, and I think they've got one of them in America. I think it might be Florida they have it in. So it'd be very, very interesting to see what will be coming in the near future. Now, I'm also thinking that they do have one at Legoland California. They do have one at Legoland California, which I think it's the F40 that they've got there for the car. So that did look very, very impressive indeed. Now, as we carry on and moving around, this layout is completely different to any others that we've seen before, because everything, including the information, is all by the car in one room, and then in the other room is where you just build. So that's actually a little bit easier the way they've done this. So if you just wanted to come in, have a look at the models, read all up about the car, and read up about the different sort of Ferrari heritage, you can do, because the one in Billund, they got the car outside. You then walk in and you try and read all the different information, and it is right behind where people sit, and you cannot physically read the information whatsoever. So this is obviously two separate shops. Where we're stood now used to be the brick shop, and then to the left hand side was obviously the little Sea Life Centre bit where you could just build your different bits and pieces in there. Now we are back to the top of the park, and this is the huge Lego store. Now this is already been uploaded. There is a long video available for this where we see all these sets in massive detail, but again, we're just having a quick snippet and a quick look at all of the different Ninjago, different bits and pieces. You can get anything you want in here. You've got all the different poly bags, you've got all the bigger sets, the smaller sets, lots of different minifigures. You can get backpacks, you can get all the swords. Basically anything that you can think of, they will have up in this store, and they sell a lot more than your local Lego store as well. So again, you will be spoilt for choice if you do go into your local Legoland store, because you will be able to pick up all sorts of different bits and pieces if you want to, which is always a nice thing. Now as we're panning through, you can see there's plenty of different bits and pieces on display. They do have a good selection on display, but it's just a shame that each set is individual. I did say this in the shop upload, that what they've been doing in all of the other countries, they've been making displays in one case, and then they'll have all the price point information together rather than having all of these individually. I think I prefer it where they're all being sort of displayed as one collective thing, because it makes you think, oh, actually, I'd want to buy XYZ rather than just buying the one set. Now, another thing that they do nicely at the Legoland stores is you can see up top, you've got all of the different bits and pieces with regards to Ninjago, and then you can see you've got the Lego Dreams up at the top. And again, you'll have that same thing with the Harry Potter and all of the other little bits and pieces like that. Now, I do believe once we've had a little bit look at a little bit longer look at the shop, we'll then head outside. We'll have a look at the little construction work that was going on at the time of this being filmed. Like I said, it is now opening up in May, so get onto the Lego website and have a look for the different accommodation. I have stayed at the one in Germany, and I've stayed at the one in Billund, and they are both absolutely fantastic with regards to the sort of like the winter village-esque area where they are, and it's just really, really nice, really private. You can go for really nice walks. So hopefully you can do that as well here, but you are very, very close. Well, I say you're very close. You are literally in the car park. So I hope the other side that you can't see, there is nice greenery, and you can go around and just have a nice walk that way. And of course, there's lots of play areas for all of the big ones and the smaller ones alike. And I hope the area is packed full of all different Lego models. So if you have been invited there, or you have already been there, again, please let me know in that comment section below, because it is on my list of things to do at some point. I will, if I can afford it, get down in 2024, but I would imagine the price of it is going to be very, very expensive at the moment, because everybody will want to stay there. But that means keep your eyes peeled for the hotel, because the hotel might drop in price for a little bit, because everybody wants to stay somewhere else. Now, we've skipped a huge bit, and now we're snaking down where used to be the Viking River Splash. Now, this was the thing I said at the start of the video, where this was a pay-to-play, and then it was something else, and then it was something else. It always changes. Now it's, well, nothing. It's just a weird and wonderful place. I'd be interested to see what they do with that, because it is in a really awkward place, because when you walk down, nobody ever goes left. They just go down that bit to the right-hand side. But everything, the sort of grey painted fence to the left-hand side, is all the boarding for the Viking River Splash. That's how big that ride is, and they boarded it off quite far in. So I can never, ever remember the walkway down being this tight. So obviously they've given themselves enough room to get large machinery in there, or whatever you can think of to do. Obviously there's all the water's been drained, and it is a huge big double gate. So I'm assuming that this will end up being bulldozed down, a bit like what they did with the Team Extreme. But the only difference with the Team Extreme is they just kept the ride closed. They didn't actually barricade it all off, and then they barricaded it off and started to do the work very, very quickly. In fact, I think one year what they did when the park was open for Christmas and you couldn't walk down that way, they didn't even bother putting a fence up. They just took the bulldozers to it and the diggers, they took it all down, and then the following year they put the track up. And I don't ever think it had a big fence around it like what we're looking at now. So it'll be interesting how quickly they move on this area, because this walkway up and down when the ride was running was very, very busy. But now there's no ride here at all. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And again, they are advertising the Legoland Golf. That did look pretty cool. Apart from it didn't open until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which was a bit of a nightmare for me because I had to leave at 2 to get back to the airport. So I was only here for a couple of hours anyway. But I will want to go back and check out the mini golf and see what it is all about, because they do have different courses, and you can, I do believe, link the mini golf to your hotel visit if you want to. And where the new village is, it is obviously in walking distance to the indoor mini golf, whereas the other parks have a nice little walk to an outdoor mini golf. So again, lots and lots of changes, and even more changes here, because this did used to be a ride a long time ago. That got taken down a long time ago, but it does look like they are in the process of putting up a new fence. So whatever that's all about, I don't know. This did used to be where the Technic Big Dinosaur used to be, but now that is obviously all of the Ferrari section, and then we're just panning round now over the big Miniland. Now I think we're about to jump outside the park. I think. Could be completely wrong. I'm correct. So we are now out the front. So we've now just completely escaped. So this is the entrance that you'd see as you come in. All those bits and pieces there used to be the ticket booth. So you haven't used them for a long time now. They've completely changed how you do it, because it's obviously all like e-ticket. So you just do it on your phone instead. It's a really big open area to come in. So it does look quite smart. But I spotted something new. This. Dog kennels. I had no idea they used to be there. Now obviously they've been there a long time, but I don't know why they've opened it up ever so slightly. I'd love to go in there and explore. I'd love to see what else is behind there. So there obviously used to be something there way back when. So if you know the history of this park, then obviously please let me know in the comment section below. Did that used to be part of the zoo, where if you were walking around the zoo, you could just leave your dog there? I just find it very bizarre that you got a dog kennel with the Lego colours and the Lego artwork. But it does look like the whole car park, every single bay, has been completely redone. Now this bit to the left-hand side is a big car park, and then further down used to be more car park, and that is now where they're doing the construction work. But as a tease, that is it. I am done. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Keep your eyes peeled for the future uploads from obviously the Windsor Park and the other parks around the world. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.